Hi, I'm Jody Hempel. Thank you for joining me for this webinar video, 5 Daily Success Habits. I'm going to teach you 5 simple tasks that if you do them every day is going to get you closer to what you want, no matter what it is that you want. So thanks for joining me. Now, we've been hearing this term a lot lately, new normal. We're living a new normal. What will the next new normal be? I don't know about you, I'm getting a little tired of it. So I say, let's stop that and let's focus on a new better. What is your new better? 90% of our behaviors are habitual, 90%. That means that every day from the time we get up in the morning until the time we go to bed, we have habits that we do over and over and over again. So these habits that we do, they're subconscious. We do them and they may not be setting us up for success. They may actually be getting in the way of our success. So good or bad, habits are always going to deliver results. But if you're not getting the results that you want, you may need to change some of your habits. Now, I have found that if you take the time to fully understand the principles of success, you can have everything that you want. And if you actually, when you understand them, if you start applying them, you can overcome any challenge. When I was in my early 30s, I was self-employed, and I not only lost my business, I lost everything. I was completely broke. I was homeless, but luckily I didn't have to live in a car or on the street. I had friends who let me couch surf for several months, and I had a mountain of debt. I'll tell you, I was literally fighting for survival every day. I was scared to death because I didn't know how to turn it around. And then a friend gave me some books on success. I didn't even know that anything like that existed. I didn't know that you could learn to be successful. So I read the books, What Did I Have to Lose? And they had various principles in them, and I started applying them as I learned them. So I stopped blaming everybody but me. I took 100% responsibility for what I had done to create my situation. And then I allowed myself to think about what did I really want? Because what I had wasn't working. So I did some big dreaming. I set goals for the first time in my life. I started using affirmations and visualization to start seeing and believing that I could have what I wanted. So over the years, I kept reading books and I kept applying new principles. And I eventually got to the place where I had a 6-figure income and $1 million in assets. Then a couple of years ago, I read this book, The Success Principles. This book had all of the principles that I had learned and some that I hadn't learned yet. Where was this book back then? It would have saved me so much time. So this book is written by Jack Canfield. If you don't know who Jack Canfield is, if that's not a name that's familiar to you, you might have heard of Chicken Soup for the Soul books. So that's Jack. Jack Canfield has worked for the last 40 years helping people reach their dreams. And along the way, he learned a lot of principles, which he packaged into this book. So it contains 64 universal principles. So let's break that down. What does that mean? Universal means that whatever it is, it applies to everybody. It's universal. It works for everyone. And a principle is a fundamental truth. So these are fundamental truths that apply to everyone. Now I know we all think that our situation is unique and that we need a unique solution, but these principles apply to everybody, no matter what it is that you want out of life. So we're not going to look at all 64. We're just going to look at a handful of them today. Now, Brian Tracy, who's another motivational speaker and author, said, life is like a combination lock. Your job is to find the right numbers in the right order so you can have anything you want. Well, the success principle shows the right numbers in the right orders. In fact, if you make 100% commitment to the success principles, in 2 years or less, you can dramatically improve any area of your life, any area, no matter what that is. You can double your income, double your free time, have more balance, more fun, and achieve greater emotional fulfillment and inner peace. How does that sound? Sounds pretty good to me. I'm sure it does to you too. The thing is that you have to actually learn the principles and apply them. You can't hire other people to do your push-ups for you. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. So what I'd like you to do with me, on the count of 3, I would like you to point at yourself and say this with me, okay? 1, 2, 3. If it's to be, it's up to me. Great. So let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Jody Hempel, and my company is Peace of Mind by Design Training. I live in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm a trainer, a coach, a speaker, and an author. I moved to Arizona about 6 years ago from the San Francisco Bay Area, where I was a corporate trainer. I worked for a mortgage insurance company for 17 years, and I led a team that did all of the training for our internal employees. And we also had a customer training group that did training for our mortgage lender customers. I hold an MBA in strategic leadership, and I am certified by Jack Canfield to teach the success principles. Now, I'm not just going to be a talking head for this video. So you are going to apply what you learned. There will be, as we go through each habit, I will stop and give you an activity to do so that you can apply what you just learned right away. So when we come to those areas where it's your turn, you might want to pause the video, do the activity, and then when you're done, you can start the video again. So your habits determine your outcomes. So your habits, if you religiously practice habits that lead to success, that are in your favor instead of in your way, you will have positive outcomes. Now, experts, some of them say it takes 21 days to build a new habit. Others say it takes 60 days to build a new habit. Actually, there is no set time. Different habits, different people take different lengths of time. What I would like you to do is give it 30 days. Just follow these habits for 30 days and see what happens. See if you have more success towards what you want in your life. So let's dive into the first habit. This habit is called Power Time. It's based on the success principle number 20, commit to constant and never-ending improvement. And this is something you want to do every morning. So Power Time is doing 3 things. It's exercising, it's learning, and it's meditating. So let's look at exercising. Anything that you're doing that's moving your body is exercising. It could be going for a hike or a walk or a run, going for a ride on your bike, doing weightlifting, yoga, Pilates. It even can be you just putting on some good music and dancing it out. So that's your exercise. The next is learning. This is spending some time learning new information. This is not watching the news. that's staying current. This is learning things. So you can read books. You can also listen to audiobooks. You can listen to podcasts, watch videos like this on YouTube. You're learning right now. Now, what I do is this Blinkist here is an app that I have on my phone, and they have Cliff Notes. So they take books and put them down into a Cliff Note. The free version, you get one book a day, and so you can either read it or you can listen to it. So this is what I do, is I listen to it. I speed it up a little bit so I can hear it faster. And while I'm making my bed and getting ready in the morning, I've got the Blinkist on that I'm listening to. I've learned things about how to treat people with respect, how to set boundaries, how to be happy at work. They even had Michelle Obama's book Becoming on there as Cliff Notes. So something that you're learning, reading fiction doesn't count either. And then meditation. This is taking some time to kind of go within and be mindful for a period of time. This can be, standard, can be, sitting and using something like Om. It can be counting. It can be, you can use apps like Calm and Breathe that have some guided meditations on them, but it can also be something that you lose yourself in. So it could be some kind of art, or it could even be working in the garden if that's something that you love. So how much time do you need to spend doing these things? Well, you could spend an hour. So that would look like you would spend 20 minutes exercising, 20 minutes reading or listening to information, and 20 minutes meditating. If you did this every day for a year, at the end of the year, you would have spent 120 hours in each of these areas. So what do you think your body would look like, or your health would be, if you spent 120 hours over the next year exercising? What would you know in a year that you don't know now? And how calm and inner peace would you have if you meditated for 120 hours over the next year? Okay, I know, I can hear it. I don't have an hour to spend on this every day. So how about a half hour of power? Spend 10 minutes in each of these areas, and you will have spent 60 hours in each area in a year. That's amazing too. You are definitely going to see a difference. And if you don't have time for 30 minutes, come on, you can squeeze in 15 minutes. So 5 minutes exercising, 5 minutes learning, and 5 minutes meditating. That's going to give you 30 hours a year in each of these areas. Now, it's okay to mix it up. So you don't have to do the same activities every day. Maybe it's on the weekends. You do yoga with a YouTube video. You listen to some podcasts, and you meditate. And maybe you do that for an hour on the weekends. And then on the weekdays, maybe it is just spending the 15 minutes and you're dancing it out, listening to a podcast in the car on the way to work. And before you go, you're taking a few minutes to meditate. So you can mix up the times, mix up the activities. So now it's your turn. This is your first activity. So I'd like you first to commit to what's your power time going to be. Is it going to be 15 minutes every day? Is it going to be a half an hour, an hour? Is it going to be an hour on the weekend and 15 minutes during the week? So the first thing is to write down how many minutes a day you're going to spend on your time, your power time. And then you can do some brainstorming of what kind of exercise do you want to do, what kind of learning, and what kind of meditation. So you can pause the video, do this activity, and then come on back and join me. we're going to jump into success habit number 2, which is show gratitude. This is based on success principle number 4, the law of attraction. And you're going to do this either every morning or every night, one or the other, whatever's best for you. Now, I want you to do an activity with me. I'd like you to close your eyes, and I'd like you to think of a time that made you really sad, a time when you were just sad. And just sit with that for a few seconds and notice how it feels to feel sad. Okay, open your eyes. Now I'd like you to close your eyes again. And this time I'd like you to feel, what does it feel like to be really happy? So when was a time that you were just super happy? Think about that and notice how that feels. Okay, you can go ahead and open your eyes. We're going to do this one more time. And this time is, I want you to think about the sad time and the happy time at exactly the same time. Happy, sad, exactly at the same time. So go ahead and close your eyes and do that. Think about the happy time and the sad time. Okay, open your eyes. I'm going to bet that you couldn't do it because our brains aren't wired that way. Our brains are wired to feel one emotion at a time. We can flip back and forth, right, like we just did, but we can't feel two emotions at exactly the same time. So when we show gratitude and appreciation for the things that we have in our life, the people we have in our life, we immediately feel joy and happiness. It doesn't matter what you were feeling before you did this, you are immediately going to feel that joy and happy. You can't focus on the sad when you're focusing on the happy. And now there's actually a scientific reason for this. This isn't some woo-woo kind of thing. When we show gratitude and appreciation, our brain releases two neurotransmitters, dopamine and serotonin. So these neurotransmitters are responsible for our emotions. And so when they're released, we immediately start feeling happy and we start feeling joy. And when we feel happy and we feel joy, then we're in a good mood. We're in a good mood, we're more likely to think positive things about our life and the people in our life. So gratitude not only improves your mood, it can also improve your sleep, and it can help reduce pain, stress, anxiety, and depression. So I have been writing in a gratitude journal now for several years. I learned this from Oprah Winfrey. And so I have a spiral notebook. I actually just finished my favorite one and I'm starting a new one. Every day I write the date and I start at the top of the page, I am grateful, ... and I fill in the page. When I first started, I had a hard time coming up with just one thing because I wasn't used to thinking about gratitude. Now I fill a whole page. And these don't have to be big things, right? Right now it's August in Arizona, it's hot. I am grateful every single day that my air conditioner is working. So sometimes that's what I write. It doesn't have to be a big thing. So it's your turn. And so for this activity, I'd like you to write, I'm grateful, and then list at least 3 things that you're grateful for. If you can think of more, go ahead and add more. So you can stop the video, do this activity, and then when you're done, come on back. Oprah Winfrey said, be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never have enough. So the message of this is focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Okay, so we are going to jump into success habit number 3, which is assess your day. This comes from success principle number 21, keep score for success. And you want to do this every night. So you have to measure what you want more of. Remember when you were growing up, well, I don't know about you, but me, I know most people, we were little, and so our parents measured our height, right? We'd stand up against the door jamb. Mine was in my bedroom, and they'd put the pencil at the top of my head and make a little mark and write the date on it. And we did this every, so often, so that we had this scale going up the wall. I could measure my success, right? The goal was to grow up and be an adult, which meant, as a kid, being as tall as my mom or my dad, right? And so that was a way of measuring if we were going towards our goal. There's an author by the name of Charles Grant, and he wrote a book called The Game of Work. And he said that scorekeeping stimulates us to create more of the positive things that created the success in the first place. So it reinforces the behaviors. So it reinforces your behaviors and helps to create them, make them into habits. So you want to end your day by acknowledging yourself for all of the things that you achieved that day. This does a couple of things. 1, you're measuring your success for the day. 2, you're going to be showing appreciation for yourself. So we talked about what showing appreciation and gratitude does. Showing it for yourself is even more powerful. And the third reason is, I know from talking to a lot of people that we sometimes say the meanest things to ourselves. We say things to ourselves that we would never, ever, ever say to somebody else. And that is not good for our self-esteem. So by appreciating ourselves every day, by keeping track, we're also working on building our self-esteem and stopping the negative self-talk. So here's how it works. Every day at the end of the day, you're going to write down the things that you accomplish. So what were all the things you set out to accomplish? And as you're going through these next 30 days practicing these habits, doing these 5 habits can be one of the things that you accomplish, right? Then you also want to look at the disciplines you kept and the temptations that you overcame. So maybe it was that the temptation was you wanted to hit the snooze and stay in bed, but you had planned that you were going to get up early and go exercise, and you got up and did that. Maybe instead of having the piece of chocolate cake for dessert, you had an apple instead, or some fruit, or something healthy. Or maybe instead of staying up late binging Netflix, you got to bed early so that you'd get a good night's sleep and be refreshed for the next day. So you're going to get to practice this. So what I want you to write is I want you to say, I appreciate you and your name. So for me, it would be, I appreciate you, Jody, for. And then list the things you accomplished, the disciplines you kept, and the temptations you overcame. Now, depending what time of day you're listening to this, if you're listening to it first thing in the morning, think about yesterday. If you're listening later in the day and you've actually had some time to accomplish some things, then you can think about today and write those down. Now, when you're doing this for real time, I want you to not only write them down, but when you're done, I want you to read it out loud so that you hear yourself being told these things. And if you want to make it even super powerful, read it looking into the mirror. So you're looking yourself in the eye. I have to say, the first time I did this, I cried because I was so unaccustomed to somebody appreciating me for these things. So it's your turn. Pause the video, do the activity, and then jump back in again. Now, before we can do 4 and 5 are based on a goal. So we're going to set a goal so that we can work through habit 4 and 5. So we're going to do a little foundational work here. So we're going to use success principle number 7, unleash the power of goal setting. So there's 7 areas of life. Got ahead of myself there for a second. There's 7 areas of our life that are listed here. I want you to pick one area for the purpose of this video, one area that you want to work on and have some success in, that you're willing to work on for the next 30 days. So pick one of these and write down what it is. Okay, now we're going to set a goal around that. So a goal is something that you want that you don't have, that is measurable in time and space. You may have heard of SMART goals, which is an acronym for a way of setting goals. This is much easier. You want your goal to be specific, so you just want to make sure that your goal answers 2 questions: how much and by when. So let's look at some examples. So maybe you want a house on the ocean. So that's, you just have the intention that, one day I'd like to have a home on the ocean. That's not a goal. A goal is, I will own a 3,000 square foot home on the ocean in Portland, Maine by April 30th of next year. It's specific, right? We know how much. 3,000 square foot home on the ocean in Portland, Maine. And by when? April 30th of next year. Let's look at another one, right? The intention to lose weight. We walk around going, oh, I just wish I could lose weight. That's not a goal. A goal is, I will weigh 135 pounds or less by my birthday this year. How much? 135 pounds. By when? My birthday this year. I just want to make more money. I wish I had more money. Not a goal. The goal is, I will generate $100,000 or more in sales by the end of this year. How much? 100,000 in sales. By when? End of this year. I wish I had a better relationship with my kids. I want to be more kind and positive with my kids. A goal will be, I will say something positive to each of my kids every day for the next 30 days. How much? One thing positive every day. By when? Over the next 30 days. Now, the thing about a goal is, if you can dream it, you can do it. And it doesn't take any more effort to have a big dream than it does a little dream. So you might as well dream big. Now, here's the thing about goals. If you just think about them, you've got a 43% chance of reaching them. If you write down your goal, that increases to a 56% likelihood of reaching. Share your goal with at least one other person, that jumps to 64, and then have an accountability partner where you give a weekly progress report, it jumps up to 76%. Here's the thing, only 4% of the population ever write down their goals, and only 1% ever review them after they've written them down. So I want you to be in the 4% and the 1%. So here's your turn. So for that area, one of those 7 areas that you chose, I'd like you to set a goal. Now you want to start your sentence with I will, because when you write I will, you are making a promise. If I say, I'm going to pick you up at 5 tomorrow, you're going to count on me being there at 5. It's an implied promise, right? So if you start with I will, you're making a promise to yourself. And then when you write it out, you want to make sure that it answers the question, how much by when? The clearer it is, the more likely you're going to reach it. Now, I don't want you to get caught up in the how. This is very important. At this stage, just think about what it is you want and promise yourself that you will get it. Don't worry about the how, and I'll explain why in a couple of minutes. So go ahead and stop the video, do this activity, write out your goal, and then come back. So we can now jump into daily success habit number 4, which is affirm and visualize your goals. This is based on success principle number 6, use the law of attraction. And this one you're going to do every morning and every night. Affirmations are a very detailed statement that clearly spells out what it is that you want, whether it's your career, your relationships, your finances, any of those 7 areas that we looked at. Now, scientists know that our brain is a goal-seeking brain. And that part of the brain is called the reticular activating system. So here's how it works. You've got your unconscious brain and your conscious brain. During the day, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of images, messages, things that you hear, things that you see, and they all go into your unconscious brain over here. Your unconscious brain is a gatekeeper. It only lets certain things travel into your conscious brain. And so when you have a goal and you're clear about it and you're visualizing it, affirming it, and you're concentrating on it, your unconscious brain, anything that it sees that has to do with that goal, it's going to send over. So you're going to start seeing opportunities that you never saw before. You are going to meet people that you hadn't met, or you're going to find out that somebody that you know could help you with your goal and you never knew that. Things are going to start showing up. So that's why you don't have to worry about the how. You just focus on the what, and the how will show up. So you want to affirm and have affirmations that you read every morning and night that will help keep your goal-seeking brain going. But then you also want to visualize those. So Jack Nicklaus, who was a pro golfer, said, "I never hit a shot, even in practice, without having a very sharp, in-focus picture in my mind." So he decided what he wanted that shot to do, pictured it in his brain, and then made it happen, which is why he was one of the reasons he was such a fantastic golfer. So there was an experiment done, done around visualization, and there were 3 groups of basketball players, and they did this experiment for 30 days. The first group didn't do any foul shots, okay? So they weren't allowed in practice to do any foul shots. The second group was on the basketball court and they did foul shots. They practiced every single day. The third group never went on a basketball court. All they did was practice foul shots in their minds. So they just pictured themselves making the foul shot and doing it and actually making it. Now, after the 30 days, the first group had 0 improvement. Well, duh, they didn't practice. So that's not a surprise. The second group had a 24% improvement. That's pretty impressive. But the real surprise is the third group. Remember, they never went on the basketball court. They just practiced in their mind, and they had a 23% improvement. Now that's impressive. So a simple way of writing an affirmation is to start with, I am so happy and grateful that I am now. And your affirmation is written as if you have already achieved your goal. Okay, so it's as if you're living that goal right now. So let's look at our examples, right? So our first one was around the house in Maine. So I'm so happy and grateful that I'm now living in my 3,000 square foot home on the ocean in Portland, Maine. So happy and grateful that I'm now at my ideal weight of 135 pounds. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm now generating $100,000 this year in sales. And I'm so happy and grateful that I'm now kind and positive with my kids. So you see, all of them are as if you are living that, you've reached that goal and you're living it now. So it's your turn to try. So you want to start with, I'm so happy and grateful that I am now, and then finish it off with the rest of your goal as if you are already living it. So you can stop the video and then you can come back when you have that written out. So you're going to read these every morning and every night. So every morning when you first wake up, every night before you go to bed. And then to make your affirmation even more powerful, you are going to visualize yourself as if you are living it. And the more real you can make it, hear the sounds, see the sights, feel what it's like to do that, the more powerful it is. So it might be that if your goal was to have the house on the ocean, maybe your visualization is you're listening to the waves lap up on the beach as you're sitting outside on your deck overlooking the ocean. Maybe it's that you're reading the scale when you weigh yourself and you're seeing it say 135. Or maybe it's you trying on your clothes and the way that they fit. For the 100,000 in sales, that could be that you're picturing your bank statements every month showing that money coming in. Or you're just visualizing your kids with being happy and smiling because you're positive and kind with them now. Okay, so write out your affirmation and then come on back. And then daily success habit number 5 is to do 5 things that lead to the achievement of your goal. So that's based on success principle number 23, practice the rule of 5s. And this you're going to do every day. So every day you are going to take 5 actions that lead towards your goal. So what's the one thing that separates winners from losers in life? Winners take action. So it's not enough just to write out a goal, write out your affirmations, read them and visualize. Darn, right? Wouldn't that be easy? You have to take some action too. And you want to do 5 actions that are going to lead directly to your goal. And these are your 5 priorities on your to-do list every day. Get these 5 things done right away, and then, you know, all the other to-do stuff can come along, because your goals, the things that you want, they're the most important. They're more important than taking out the trash and taking the dog for a walk and washing the dishes and, you know, taking the car to get the oil changed. All those things are important, but there's plenty of time to get that stuff done after you've done your 5 steps. So example for me is weight loss is my area that I'm working on. And so I signed up for Noom. And so through that program, every day I have to weigh myself. I have to log my weight, log my food. I have to walk a certain number of steps and I have a lesson that I have to read every day. So those are my 5 actions that I do every day to work towards my weight loss goal. So what are the 5 actions you can take every day towards your goal? They could be the same 5 actions. So if you want to have, you know, $100,000 in sales, maybe it's that you need to make 5 sales calls every day, right? That would be 25 sales calls Monday through Friday, and you'd probably generate more business if you did that. So what are the 5 things you can do every day? So pause the video and just do some brainstorming around what kinds of actions would lead towards your goal. And then come on back as we wrap up. So to do an overview of this, of the 5 habits, every morning you're going to read your affirmations and your visualizations. And then if you do gratitude in the morning, you would do that. I do my gratitude in the morning, and I actually have my affirmations written in my gratitude journal. So I pull them out, do my affirmations, visualizations, and then I do my gratitude. And then your power time. So that is your exercising, learning, and meditating. And then you're going to do your 5 things towards your goal. In the evening, you're going to assess your day. So you're going to write down what you've accomplished and achieved that day, and the disciplines that you kept and the things that you overcame. If you didn't do your gratitude in the morning, you are going to do it at the end of the day, and then do your affirmations and visualizations. So you see, these are 5 simple tasks, but if you do them every day, they are going to become a habit. And if you have these habits every day, you are just going to move towards your goals very quickly. Now, we went through and did this, you know, kind of fast, and we only worked on 1 goal. I recommend that you don't work on more than 3 goals at a time. So you can take this and add a couple of goals, or maybe you already have one that you're working on, and build you know, your habits around that. When you reach those goals, then pick another area of your life and set goals around that. So with that, I wish you to go live your new better. Whatever that is for you, that's what I wish. So I'm Jody Hempel with Peace of Mind by Design Training. You can find me on my website at jodyhempel.com or email me at jody.s.hempel@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you on another video in the future.